everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Littleton Chronicles with me, Nestra, and Happy New Year. I hope you've all had a wonderful celebratory period, and we're into 2025 now. Isn't that crazy? So, as you can see behind me, just here on my right, and then over there on the left, I have earmarked a few plots. Now these are going to be the stone smeltery, the blacksmith's hut, the Fletcher's hut, the mechanic's hut, the concrete mixer's hut, and the mine. So that is 6 buildings to get through today, and most of these do actually require some research in the university, so let's get to that. In order to unlock the blacksmith's hut, we need just to grab 64 bricks. For the blacksmith's hut, we've already got that. The Fletcher's hut is going to require 16 string. The mechanic's hut we can't get until we have built the blacksmith's and then also got it up to level 3, and then we'll need 64 redstone for that. And the concrete mixer's hut will unlock after we've unlocked the crusher's hut, and then it'll require 32 concrete, and obviously the mine comes as standard, so we don't need to do that. Here we go, I've got 16 string and the 64 bricks we're gonna need. So now we can hop on over to our university and get this research on the go, because obviously we're gonna have to wait for these things to actually, be researched before we can start putting them down. So go to the research tab, go to the technology tab. I want to say it's one of these ones on the left I need, or not. So yeah, here, unlock the concrete mixer's hut. It requires a crusher totaling at least 1 level, so we now need to get the crusher. Which requires 64 stone. I don't know why I wrote that down wrong. But we can unlock the Fletcher's hut, which requires 16 string. Here we go. Oh, it needs 64 actual bricks, not a block of bricks. Okay, we can do that. So I've gone ahead and put the redstone into a research to make our colonists break blocks faster, which will be really helpful for the mine because then it'll mine faster. When we've got a level 1 mine on the go, we'll be able to start putting points into getting them to place blocks faster, which means builders will build buildings even faster. So that's a really good research to do. So we've placed our blacksmith's hut, we've placed the miner's hut, and now we're going to wait until Amelia and Jameer are ready, and we will watch some time lapses of these buildings going up. So in this area, you can see it's pretty empty, and I was thinking it might be beneficial to have a 4th builder because our colony is getting quite big now and we are starting to build quite a few things. And I think it would be really good just to have 1 more builder, and I think this is the perfect size space for 1 more builder. So let's see. A builder's hut is a door and wood, and I already have wood on me. So this is going to be very easy. There's a door. Here's a builder's hut. And then we need to fit it in this gap. So it's a fundamental as it's a builder's hut. And then we need to turn it around to face us. Put it where it fits. So that looks good to me. And it doesn't collide with anything. So that'll be really good. So let's say yes to that. And then we need to clear out just a little bit of room. And then this will be perfect. I'm just going to clear some of the grass away. We got a new child. Okay, so Eastern Sea Garrett is our newest builder. So let's click build building. And then I'm going to go and grab Easton everything he needs to build his own hut. And when he's done, maybe he will move on to something we need doing soon. It is time for Jameer to build the mine. So it's time for another time lapse. Here we go. So this is Jameer building us our miner's hut. Now, when I show you this building, it does not actually look like this anymore, and that is because I have gone ahead and started to upgrade all the buildings to level 5 because I really want to finish this series on a high note with all the buildings built, all the research done, and then we can look around at all the different buildings and see what we've built together before we move on to the new series. Now, Jameer is building us our blacksmith hut, and we'll be able to get on with the other buildings, and slowly but surely you'll watch this whole colony go from level 1 to level 5. So here we go. We've got our stonemason's hut here up to level 5. We've got the blacksmith's hut up to level 5. Now, we have yet to place the stone smeltery and the Fletcher's hut. So we're going to pop on over to the house and we're going to craft all of the buildings we're going to need, because we've also got a hut over here that needs built. So this here is our concrete mixer's hut. Oh, and then we've got one more down here. Ah, the mechanic's hut. So we're going to start getting all of this together. Then we're going to build the level 1s. And I think what I'm going to do is we're going to watch these two become level 5 together, and then these two become level 5 together. So I'll do 2 at a time. But having leveled up the builders, they are now incredibly quick. So this really should not take us very long. We don't really have that many buildings left to go, and I have been spending a really long time getting all these buildings up to level 5. Like, they are impressive. And it's so beautiful. I really, really love these outdoorsy ones, especially with the amount of guards walking around. They're so much safer here. So, I am going to go over to the storage room now. I have gone ahead and gathered everything I think we're going to need for all of the different builds, and I'm just going to go through now and craft all of them. And while I craft everything, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's coming up on our channel and what could potentially be happening based on your guys' input. So the first thing on our agenda is actually going to be what series we're moving on to next. Now, I have never in my entire life done a Minecraft hardcore. Now, this won't be a vanilla Minecraft hardcore because you know how much I love my mods. And so I've created my own pack. This will be available to members first, and then maybe in the future available to subs. So I have created basically a huge farm pack because it's got Let's Do Bakery, Farm and Charm, Vinery, Brewery. So it's got all of those mods. Then I've gone and thrown in Pam's Harvest Craft. There's Cooking for Blockheads. There's so many furniture mods as well. It's like Paladin's Furniture, Handcrafted, McCaw's, Mr. Crayfish's, just so I have as much furniture as humanly possible to furnish these builds with, because I do find that's a bit lacking sometimes, is you just don't have quite enough variety of furniture. So I've also added that. The only things that I would say I've added that are kind of cheaty in a way is I've added Spice of Life. And if you don't know what Spice of Life is, it is a mod where if you eat a large variety of different foods, I think it's something like 6 different foods, you get an extra 2 hearts, which will make us make food to get me more hearts. And my plan for that series is to build 11 farm buildings and really get ourselves a proper functioning working farm. But then I also want to see how long we can survive. So I've got a day counter at the top of that series, and if I die, that's it. We can't go back. It's hardcore. The other kind of cheaty mod, I guess, is Britannia. Obviously, if you've played Britannia before, you know how long it takes you to get anywhere with Britannia. And so, obviously, it's going to take a while. I do not have mystical agriculture in the pack, and some of the flowers in Botania eat coal, so I'm actually going to have to go and mine all that coal myself. Like, I've put aside mystical agriculture just for one series because I love it with all my heart's content, but we're being good. I also have no botany pots, so what we're growing is growing properly outdoors. We have to harvest it, all that kind of jazz. And then with the Botania armor, it's only as high as netherite, and so it's not really that cheaty, is it? So the other part of this is, how would you guys like it if we did some live streams? I sometimes find it a little bit hard to have enough time to film and edit, so I was thinking, how would you guys feel about some live streams? There is currently a poll going on the community tab on my channel, so please go ahead and vote, and also leave in the comments what kind of time zone you're in and when you tend to watch live streams. So what we're going to do for the rest of this episode is have a walk around Littleton, look at the buildings that we've just made in the storage room, place them all down, and honestly just have a walk around Littleton. Now I will admit this is future Daynestra actually recording a voiceover, because I tried to fix my microphone so that you couldn't hear me inhale. Because a lot of the time when I do an inhale and I've been talking a lot and real fast, all I can hear is me go, and it irks me. You probably don't even notice it, but it irks me. So I tried to fix my microphone. I tried to add a little bit of a noise gate, but in doing so, it meant that I started cutting out a lot. So today's episode is brought to you by VoiceOver Me. Now what I'm doing here is clearing out the area to be able to put the stone smeltery, because I realised that when you take the builders and plop the building on here, they have to remove all this because it's not dirt. Whereas if you start on a base of dirt, they tend to just replace bits of the dirt. So here we're planning on where we're going to put our stone smeltery. I have gone ahead and made a rather large amount of buildings. Like, we've got the stone smeltery, the sifter, everything. I did all of the research to be able to do all of this. So these are our first two buildings. We're going to plop these down, and then we'll also plop the other two on the other side down. So here we go. We're setting up for somebody to build it. I tried to pick certain builders today to build certain things because A, they're closer. I did also have to add quite a few builders. And so we're going to watch these ones be built in a lovely time lapse. And then I'm going to move on to showing you all the other builds that we did today. And honestly, just have a little sit and reminisce about everything we've managed to achieve in Littleton. So due to getting through all of the university's research, our builders now throw up these buildings in less than 5 minutes. Like, I was setting timers for 5 minutes and being like, okay, let's see if they can build it in 5. And they are flying by. The block placing and block breaking upgrades, you should always get them because they are amazing. And here we go, transitioning into level 5. So this is the stone smeltery. I really love the fact that all of these buildings end up having leaves on top of them, because it really makes them link back into the forest, because obviously this used to be an entire spruce forest, and I do really feel like we lost that a little bit. I did also spend a lot of time tying them all in. The other building up there is the Fletcher's hut. And I think everything just ties in so lovely. I really do love a dirt path at this point. I never really used to use them, and now I'm travelling over to the other area where we are going to watch the builders throw up two more things. We've got the concrete mixer's hut and the mechanic's hut. Now we're moving on to the concrete mixer's hut and the mechanic's hut. So obviously here, the buildings, once again, are going up so much quicker than any other colony buildings I've ever seen in my entire life. I really love the concrete mixer's hut because of how open it is. And here's what they look like at a level 5. We're now going to have a quick little walk around. I really do like the fact that the concrete mixer's hut is open to the elements because it feels like it's kind of swept into nature a bit more. Obviously, with the amount of guards wandering around, they're much safer. Now we're going to have a look inside the mechanic's hut. Nice and simple. Obviously, this is only level 1. Oh wait, it's not level 1. We're walking around level 5. Silly me. And it looks like everybody was invited to the party inside this building. So now I'm going to show you the area where I intend to put the barracks, the apiary, the flower hut, the graveyard, the alchemist tower, the enchantment tower, the combat academy, and the archery academy. So this is where you train your archers and you train your knights. So let's have a look at all of those buildings now that they've reached their level 5 potential. So we start off strong here with Kelsey building the barracks. Now this is the only 22 by 22 building in the entire colony. It is the biggest building and in my opinion the grandest. Obviously all the buildings look so lovely and so sweet, but there has to be something said for a true show of strength in the form of a huge barracks that has its own outer wall and then inner walls, and it's just packed to the brim with beds and guard towers. And honestly, if you want a bunch of guards in your colony, building up a barracks is such a good idea because you get so many guards in just one building. You don't have to put a bunch of guard towers everywhere, and there your colonists will be so much happier because the lack of guards is one problem we do actually have in Littleton, and it's the one reason that our colonists aren't really that happy. And once we've finished watching Kelsey build this, we move on to watching the Combat Academy spring up really quickly, and then we move on to watching our lovely Archery Academy jump up, but they were not this quick to build. So here we go, let's cross our bridge and have a look at the buildings that we've got to level 5 on this side of the river. I really did want to utilize the land going from the train station to here because I really honestly felt like it was just the longest road to get there and nothing was on the road. So it's like we still have bits and bobs we've got to fill in and fix. I think that'll do. We don't want to make too much of a mess. So this is our alchemist tower, and I really think it's so cute that they've made it a tree. So it's a tree and then you've got the building around it. Then over here we've got the flower shop, which is just adorable. And we have Zora here making all those flowers for us. Then if we take the pathway this way, we have our graveyard. Now if we go down these stairs, and this is another thing I love about Littleton, is the fact that underneath you can also fit a bunch of room, and this is where all of our dead colonists will go if they start dying, although they've had quite good luck recently. And we'll head on up here around the side of this guard tower, and in here we've got the enchanter's tower, and here we have our enchanter working away with floating candles. I have noticed that in a couple of these builds that there are a lot of floating candles. So now if we come back down to the pathway, turn right, I did end up putting another builder just here because I was having to use builders from over in Littleton to build the barracks, and they were having to walk such a long way to be able to build it that it was just taking far too long. And so in here we popped in Joel. So Joel ended up building the rest of it. Kenzie did do a great job at building the first part, but Joel finished the job. So in here, you've got initial bedrooms in each of these corners. There's some storage. And then in here, you've got like the war table. And when you go all the way up here, and I think the framed views from each of these windows in this tower are amazing. Like, you can even see the top of the bakery from here, which is that sort of sail slash windmill. I don't actually know what that is, but it looks cool, so that's all I really care about. And then over here, we've got ourselves the archery academy going on with a bunch of targets for them to learn on. And then over here, we've got the combat academy. And down here, you've got bedrooms for them all and everything. And then finally on this side of the river, I just have a quick run over here. And we go up this way. We've got the apiary hut. And in here we have a Mari. And they're just so cute. They don't have any bees in, because obviously that would be something we'd have to go and get. But yeah, no bees. I did think I heard bees at one point, but clearly not. So now that we've looked all here, I can show you the Mystic site. Now, I was under the impression that the Mystic site was actually going to be an 11 by 11, a 22 by 22 like the barracks, but it turns out it is this beautiful, tiny, little tree trunk with floating candles in an 11 by 11. And here is Gwendolyn, who actually built every single level of this Mystic site. And it's just so cute. So yes, I had to add Gwendolyn as well. Her builder's hut ended up going here. And then all that's left to show you is we actually put one more building in this area here, another open building to go with the stonemason's hut. We added the crusher. Although I didn't really pay attention to where I was putting it and kind of ate a little bit into the corner of this build, but it doesn't seem to have really made too much of a difference. And then this has got like an underneath. What do we do down here? Oh, it's just supposed to look like a big crushing wheel thing. Interesting. I haven't honestly looked around all of these. And then the other thing was I created this area. So I hollowed out a rather large amount of the hill. And then we put obviously the mine up here you saw built. Then we've got the sifter here, the glass blower's hut here. This is a decoration piece of a market stall because I thought it kind of tied in nicely with the glass blower's hut. Then over here we've got the dyer's hut and the composter's hut. I do kind of wish the flower shop was here because I feel like that would have gone really nicely if we'd have maybe put the sifter somewhere else. But no regrets. I do think this is really nice. And that's it. That is every single colony building you can build, and we have got every single building to level 5, and I am so proud of this. I've never actually completed an entire colony and got all the buildings to level 5 before. This is the bakery at level 5, which I think looks amazing. And then here is our town hall, the first building we ever started with. Oh, you remember the election? That was a fun time. Dairy moo cow, Daisy moo cow ended up on the sticks. This is I haven't actually been up here. This is really interesting. So one, you have a tower so you can survey the land. I really do like the fact that I kept a lot of trees going in here, so all of the buildings kind of just blend into nature. Interesting storage solutions. But I like. And all of the animals have just kind of ended up being like free-range animals outside of their pens, because whenever the builders were updating the pens, the animals were just walking out. I think that's the funniest thing ever, especially how many cows we've got walking around. Like, they're everywhere. The chickens are long gone. People are still becoming archers. There's coloured sheep everywhere. But yeah, we've got the plushie museum because Christmas Cove was just a beautiful little trip. Our initial house. I can't wait to build a new house, honestly. The barn. The windmill with functioning windmill. Although Create genuinely has taken some of the frame rate with it. The train, especially whenever it comes into the station, is horrendous. The factory we never really got to use. The farmhouse, I adore the farmhouse. And I built us another mystical tower. And this time we did actually get to use the mystical tower. So there is that. And it's full of sauce. Like, look at this. Oh. I say full of sauce. It is missing it in some jars, but it could be full of sauce. Honestly, one day I will learn how to do Ars Nouveau properly. And then I will be the most powerful witch or wizard in the world. But in the next series, we actually have a magic mod called Hexerai, so we can get brooms and be real witches. So it's goodbye from me and goodbye from Littleton, and I will see you all next time when we start our hardcore survival world. Goodbye!